Snow begins to fall over Paris on the evening of November 22, 2025. Not the usual thin drizzle of winter, but real, visible flakes drifting gently through the air. The temperature has been dropping all day, and by the time the clock strikes 8 p.m., the first winter alert is in place. Météo-France issues an orange warning for snow and ice, expected to last until Sunday morning. Almost immediately, the city begins to change. The Eiffel Tower appears first. Rising above the Seine, its iron frame glows through the falling snow. At first, only a few flakes cling to the metal, melting quickly under the warm lights. But as the minutes pass, the snow becomes steadier. Tiny white crystals settle into every corner, thin threads of white tracing the shapes of the tower. From afar, the Eiffel Tower looks softer, as if the storm was drawing a delicate sketch of the monument against the night sky. People gather below, lifting phones to capture the rare moment. You can hear faint laughter, the crunch of feet on the first thin layer of snow, and the distant hum of boats moving along the river. The snow moves slowly, swirling in the beams of the tower and disappearing into the darkness above. The moment feels fragile, like a secret shared only with those who happen to be here tonight. From the tower, the view stretches across the Seine and lands on the Louvre. The museum glows like a palace from another century. Snowflakes land on the Louvre pyramid, clinging to the glass before melting into tiny droplets. The reflection of the snow dances across the courtyard, turning the ground into a field of glittering lights. Visitors walk under the falling snow, their breath creating soft clouds in the cold air. The streets around the museum grow quieter as the snowfall thickens. Light footsteps echo under the arches. The sound of the city feels distant, muted by the thickening layer of snow settling everywhere. A little further north, the Arc de Triomphe rises like a guardian over the Champs-Élysées. Snow drifts around it, forming thin lines across the sculptures carved into its facade. The roundabout, usually chaotic and full of motion, slows dramatically. Cars glide carefully, their tires leaving faint tracks that disappear within minutes. The headlights cut through the swirling flakes, turning the scene into a glowing ring of light around the monument. Even those driving tonight seem affected by the snowfall. Movements become slower, more deliberate. People look through their windshields with quiet awe, watching Paris transform right in front of them. The snow begins to settle on the top of the monument, forming a thin, perfect layer that follows the curve of the arch. Far above the city, Sacre-Cœur stands on its hill, watching over everything. Up here, the snowfall feels stronger, as if Montmartre receives the clouds' first breath of winter. Snow covers the basilica's domes, softening their edges. The white stone almost blends into the white sky, giving the whole structure a dreamlike appearance. Around the basilica, the winding streets of Montmartre look like a village caught in a winter fairy tale. Cafes emit warm light that spills onto the snowy cobblestones. A guitarist tries to play beneath a canopy, his notes mixing with the gentle hum of falling snow. A couple walks hand in hand, their footprints creating a trail behind them, quickly filled again by the steady snowfall. From Montmartre, the scene shifts toward western Paris, where Parc des Princes sits under a stronger layer of snow. Stadium lights reveal flakes swirling rapidly in the wind. Seats, walkways, and rooftops turn white. The surrounding streets begin to vanish under the thickening layer as the western districts see the highest accumulations close to 7 centimeters by morning. Then the camera glides back across the city toward the center, where Notre Dame rises on the Isle de la Cité. Snow settles along the cathedral's restored roofline, filling the grooves between stones and tracing the shapes of the sculptures. The towers look peaceful, almost contemplative. The river moves slowly beside them, reflecting the glow of the streetlights through the falling snow. Finally, the monuments fade, and the camera enters the true heart of the Paris snowfall, the streets. Snow falls steadily between the Haussmannian buildings that tower over the boulevards. The warm yellow glow of the street lamps creates a soft halo around each flake, turning the avenues into glowing tunnels of light. Trees along the sidewalks catch the snow on their branches, forming lines of white that stretch down entire streets. Cafes remain open, their terraces nearly emptied but still lively. Chairs hold a dusting of snow, waiters brush them off with quick motions, placing steaming cups of coffee in front of the few customers who choose to embrace the cold. The sound of conversation is quieter than usual, softened by the snow. Even the clinking of glasses feels muted, absorbed into the thick air. Along the Seine, couples walk slowly under the snowfall, their footsteps creating the comforting crunch of snow compressing under shoes. The river glimmers with reflections of passing boats, their lights diffused by the falling flakes. On some quays, street artists paint or sketch beneath umbrellas, capturing the moment before it melts. In the Marais, narrow streets turn into white corridors. Small shops stay open late, their windows glowing warmly while snow piles against the doorsteps. People walk out with scarves tied around their faces, brushing snow from their hair. A small group laughs as they try to catch snowflakes on their gloves. The more it snows, the more the city slows down. Traffic becomes sparse. Even the buses move gently, leaving thin tracks behind them. Taxis glide carefully through the quiet streets, their headlights illuminating the falling flakes. By midnight, the entire city has taken on a new rhythm. It feels like Paris is breathing differently, slower, calmer, softer. Across Ile-de-France, road crews continue working through the night. You can see their lights flashing through the storm as they scatter salt across major avenues. Police patrols drive past, announcing warnings through speakers. Some roads begin to freeze, and drivers are encouraged to stay home unless absolutely necessary. At Charles de Gaulle Airport, planes wait on snowy runways. The snowplows move back and forth, clearing paths for departing aircraft. Travelers stand near the windows, watching the flakes swirl past the lights. Some take photos, others listen for announcements about delayed flights. Inside the city, public transport adapts. Most lines continue running, but with small, expected delays. Metro entrances glow warmly in the snow, inviting people underground where the temperature rises and the air feels heavier. In residential neighborhoods, the snowfall deepens. Gardens disappear under a white blanket. Balconies gather small piles of snow on their railings. The only footprints in the quiet courtyards belong to cats and early walkers. Streetlights cast long shadows on the untouched snow, creating shapes that stretch across the ground like delicate patterns. By 3 a.m. the snowfall reaches its calmest point. It still falls steadily, but without urgency. Paris feels completely transformed. The buildings seem taller, the streets wider, the air cleaner, the city quieter than it has been in months. People who can't sleep step out onto their balconies, wrapped in blankets, watching the snow fall in the glow of the street lamps. A few take deep breaths, enjoying the rare scent of winter in Paris. Others record short videos, capturing the beauty of the moment before it melts. In some places, the snowfall begins to slow. In others, especially the western suburbs, it continues stronger, adding to the growing layer of white. By dawn, the highest areas will have several centimeters, enough to blanket rooftops completely and transform the landscape. As the first light of morning arrives, the storm loses strength. The sky shifts from dark gray to pale gold. Snowflakes still fall, but lazily, drifting like feathers in a breeze. The horizon brightens, and the city begins to wake. It is now Sunday, November 23rd, just before 8 a.m. the time frame Météo-France predicted for the alert to end. The sun rises behind the clouds, turning the snow into gold. Rooftops shine. Cars parked along the streets wear soft caps of snow. The Seine glows with reflections of the morning light. The temperature begins to rise, slowly melting the snow in the center of the city. People emerge from their buildings, looking around with expressions of surprise, joy, or nostalgia. Some children rush outside, gathering snow from railings and building tiny snowmen on the sidewalk. Photographers hurry to capture the moment, knowing it will fade quickly. On the Champ de Mars, the Eiffel Tower stands tall above a patchwork of snow-covered grass. At the Louvre, workers clear the walkways for early visitors. At the Arc de Triomphe, footprints form spirals around the monument as tourists arrive. Montmartre wakes under a glowing sky, its rooftops still white. Parc des Princes remains frosted, its field untouched since the night before. Notre Dame reflects the morning light on its snow-dusted stone. Paris, for a brief moment, is still a winter city, a postcard, a dream, a memory in the making. The snow will melt, as it always does. But the silence, the beauty, and the magic of this night will stay in the hearts of those who witnessed it.